if only this guitar could talk. It would have told a lot of crazy stories about how it came to be. But unfortunately it's gone, or does it? Anyway, here I am to share those stories with you, and today we're talking about a guitar who can sound at the same time like skating on a forbidden icy lake somewhere down there in Alaska, and at the same time as a meteorite shower hitting hard on Earth and crushing everything it hits. And we're talking about G&L ASAT Special, a guitar which holds a truly special place in my heart because it's like no any other. And it has absolutely crazy story behind this, a story behind the greatest man in the world of electric guitars, the Leo Fender himself. It basically dates back to the very origins of how electric guitars came to be nowadays, to 1948 when Leo made his first prototype of Fender Telecaster. And at this time it actually wasn't called Telecaster because it bore the name Broadcaster. 1 year later, Gretsch, who made drums and had this trademark registered, said that Leo, sorry, you're a great guy, but you can't use this name anymore. So for a short period of time they had been Teles without any name at all, and they had named Nolecaster, like obviously. And only in 1951 it transformed into being actually a Telecaster as we know it today. And the story, like the history itself, really loves revolving and coming back to its original state. For this revolvement, it took 35 years. In 1985, when Leo Fender started G&L and developed a number of new models, and he developed like SC line, which was like a quintessential pre-grunge guitar, like SC1, SC2, SC3, those were absolutely crazy guitars. And at some point he decided to use the idea of those crazy high output pickups that he designed specially for them, which are called basically MFD Jumbo, and installed them on a tele body. And he made a guitar, he made it completely black pickguards, black neck, even black painted headstock, and he named it actually Broadcaster once again. And once again, Gretsch just couldn't sit straight. Once again they said that sorry, even though with 35 years you still can't use this name, sorry man. And so a little over 1,000 guitars of those had been made, and those are now true rarities, and the prices just skyrocket. So guys, no. Right now in my clean settings, everything is as transparent as it could be, so we can actually hear what's going on here. And such a gentle giant holding together, and you know, wherever you are, when you're moving up the fret, when you're down the fret, you feel the power behind this. You feel such a lot of body holding it somewhere from below and giving you this extra oomph, even when you touch the strings really lightly. And you feel this especially good when you all those phrases, you feel like you've been punched from below, like it was each hit of your pick. It kind of jumps a little bit in your hand because it has a tremendous amount of like resonance inside of it. This is like probably the core idea behind this guitar, like the resonance, and making this resonance as strong and true as possible. And so the whole guitar is built around this idea. The first thing that like strikes you is pickups and the bridge. And so the bridge was totally reworked. You see, it's kind of bulky. It's literally big. It's heavy, and it digs into the body, so that it can effectively transfer the vibrations along the grain of the wood. But not only that, it actually has a locking mechanism, and the whole construction is called saddle lock bridge. So, as the name suggests, it has a tiny screw down there, which allows you, once you've set up everything, once you set up the intonation, when you set up the saddles, it allows you to actually lock the saddles and to make this construction rock solid. So there is not a single moving part, and all the energy, all the string vibration, it goes directly into the body of the instrument. And you can absolutely feel this. You can feel it given back, and you can feel this amounts of sustain. This is absolutely clear channel. There is no compressor, no anything going on. And it still slowly fades away, and it keeps going right now, and it's still there. I don't know if you can see, if you can hear this, but yeah, it is still there. That's kind of crazy. And the second big part about this guitar is, of course, its pickups. Those MFD Jumbo Pickups, which Leo developed in the beginning of 80s. And if you think about this time, it was a time when music became much louder, much more aggressive, and musicians demanded aggressive and powerful pickups. And what do you do when you want your pickups to sound more powerful? Well, you add more windings on the coil. But here is a dilemma. At some point, if you just keep adding windings, it's become muddy. It loses its chime and character, and you have to come up with some new clever ideas. Leo basically managed to double the amount of output from each winding, thus at one time retaining the sound absolutely clear and Telecaster-esque, but at the same time adding a huge amount of body and just raw power to it, because you can still absolutely recognize this sound. You can still absolutely recognize the tele twang, especially if you switch to the bridge pickup and get this. It's so rewarding. Those tiny little notes, even dead notes, they still go through my body. Even these tiny things, which usually just fade away somewhere, you can still in your chest. That's the coolest thing about this guitar. This is the guitar for a true soundscaper, for a true sound designer who wants to get maximum of each chord he plays. He wants to rediscover the good old E major every time he picks up a guitar, because this thing is ultra responsive and ultra sensitive to each little movement that you make. So let me just add a little bit of delay and reverb to make it more airy and magical. There are so many ways to play the same chord over and over again, and each time give it a new meaning, a new sound. Even the ugliest chord, it becomes a thing of beauty when each note is pronounced so clearly. That's It's one of those guitars that gives you inspiration because it's forces you to come up with new ideas, because it reacts so differently to each little track that you make. And given its absolutely clear nature, it's one of those guitars that would work absolutely great with like any pedal board setup, because it can survive being like edited over and over again, and still like gives exactly the note, gives the clarity, gives the punch. So like 10 effects at a time, no problem, it will hold just perfectly. And of course, it's not just for the clean sound, you know. Once again, remember, 80s, so it was mad time, which asked for mad decisions, and here it is. It's fantastic how it's good at dealing with such big amounts of overdrive. And like right now I'm on my brown channel with a booster kicked in, and it still remains absolutely clear. So you know, there is no mud, even though like the nature of this guitar gives out a lot of bass, and so it gives this super powerful body, but still clean, sparkling highs that cut through the mix right through our brains. They're so bright. They're so aggressive, and this is so cool. And this is ASAT Special by legendary Fender. One of those two guitars that define the G&L as a whole to me. This is an instrument that basically unifies the whole history of this legendary man, because it's the last version of his first guitar. So if this is not romantic, I don't know what is. Overall, it's still a good old recognizable one-horn design, but they actually added a belly scoop, so it's just, you know, more comfortable, more modern. Regarding the neck, has a modern classic C profile, which is honestly more modern than classic to me. It's actually surprisingly sporty, and it remains slim even up the neck, so like when you move up, you don't meet any resistance at all. And that's pretty cool. I would probably expect a neck like this more in a Strat style guitar, but here, taking in account the idea behind ASAT Special, it's actually totally makes sense. This guitar has older body, maple neck, and fretboard made of Caribbean rosewood. And Caribbean rosewood is a type of material that G&L uses a lot, and to my ears, it sounds exactly between maple and traditional rosewood. And so it's not as dark as rosewood, it doesn't compress the sound as much, but still it hides a little bit of those like super high frequencies, which might be irritating. And overall gives you a really good balance. But I'm talking about this exact guitar I'm holding right now, because G&L basically operates more like a big custom shop rather than a small factory, because all of their processes, except the most basic ones, are only made by hands and by a really small team of extremely professional luthiers who still keep the ways of Leo Fender going strong and alive. Every guitar that you get is basically have like a custom shop amount of attention put into it. And this is really cool, and you can really feel this in each American instrument. Also, this instrument belongs to the Fullerton Deluxe series, which is the main line of American-made guitars. And there is also Tribute series, which is a lower tier. But still, even a Tribute series, they use all the American-made pickups, absolutely the same as here, and the same saddle lock bridge, which is super cool and super important because, you know, it's a big part of the character of this guitar. And there's also option order instruments where they would spice things up with something crazy every time, some crazy color or wood decisions or something else. And of course, there is a custom shop division, which is, you know, this is just a dream factory. But this is a story for another time, because right now I want to move on. And whatever guitars are available right now, you would be able to find the full list of them down in the link below. There would be all ASAT specials that are available at Acoustic Union right now and ready to order. And also, the important part is that any guitar that you order here goes under a thorough process of inspection and setting up things perfectly. So the strings are low, the action is comfortable, we check the electronics, we check everything, every single screw tightened so that nothing at all bothers you, so you can just enjoy the instrument and play the hell out of it. That's that's what the instruments are made for, basically. Also, we take our deliveries really serious because, trust me, I know what it feels like to wait for your dream guitar and shiver about getting in safely. So we would always put additional carton, air bubbles, wrapping and stuff to make sure everything is packed nicely, doesn't wobble around. And we would also ensure all our packages show. You can be absolutely sure that nothing can happen to it during the wait. And only one thing that's left for you to do is to get it out of the box, plug it into the amplifier, and enjoy this wonderful sound that Leo Fender left for all of us to listen to and enjoy and relax to. Because to me, this would be probably my #1 guitar for meditation. Because even when you turn it off, the amp all by itself, it still sounds huge and powerful and mighty as hell. So, see you in the next one, and thanks for sticking with us tonight. See ya!